guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So if you saw my recent video, I was doing a journal because somebody had basically requested when would I be making some more of my kind of full kits. So I wanted to come along and just do some ideas for using just background pages. So using just kind of background pages to make all of your ephemera and things like that. Now, I am using my collections pages, and I did say in the last video, I am not necessarily saying that you have to use my collections pages. I'm talking kind of any kind of background pages. So you could be using kind of 12 by 12 papers, you know, 12 by 12 paper pad or something. You could, of course, be using my collections papers. You could be using anybody's papers. But basically giving some ideas for if you are using the collections papers rather than a full kit, which comes with like the ephemera and the ready-made journal cards and things like that, and all of your fussy cuts, how to kind of make some of your own pieces using just the background pages. So I'm making quite an eclectic journal here. I'm trying to mix up the background pages from the collections a little bit. So I've predominantly been using the lace collections papers. So we've got some of the brown lace, we've got some of the purple lace papers, we've got some shabby chic papers as well from the shabby chic collections, and some of the damask papers, and then we're also incorporated some of the birds papers in here as well. I think that's, oh no, and some of the fantasy doors. Now I'm going to try, I think, and yep, going to try and mix in some other ones as well. I don't know whether I'm going to pull this off. I might be kind of now trying to, what's the word, like pull off more than I could chew. I'm not sure. So I've got a bunch of different papers here. Now I've got some of my bird collections papers, which obviously we have been using a little bit in here, so that's fine. I've also got some of my French collection papers. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how they're going to go down. They may be kind of a mix too far. And I've also got some of my Victorian London papers, which again, may be a step too far. But I'm going to see if we can. Now, the bonus of the French collection papers in particular is you've got quite a lot of texty type bits on, you know, these two pages in particular. Now these pages I have printed 2 to a page, so they are not full size. These are 2 to a page, so this would normally be kind of 1 page, that would be 1 page. And the same with these. Now my bird collection papers, these are printed, I mean these were from when I was making the papers. So they've got, you know, what I would deem non-matching kind of, or non-complementary papers on the back. So I'm thinking this is going to be a good project to be able to use some of these kind of papers, use them up. So yeah, we're going to kind of just see how we get on. We may find that these actually don't go at all, but yeah, we're just going to kind of just see how we get on basically. So yeah, I mean, I want it to be quite an eclectic journal. I don't want to be kind of narrowing myself down and thinking, oh, you know, it must be matchy-matchy, which I do struggle with and normally, yeah, try and keep everything matchy-matchy. But I'm going to try and push myself outside of my comfort zone. So, yeah, I'm just going to jump through the journal. I'm not going to necessarily go any particular place. Now, we're making a very basic journal. We are using these craft coloured pages, and I'm using very basic pockets and tucks. So for instance here, this is just some of my lace papers from the purple set, and we've just made a corner, you know, corner tuck spot here. That's all. You know, we are being very, very, very simplistic in the things that we're making. We're not doing anything complicated because we want to make this as easily accessible for everybody to be able to make things, you know, if you wanted. So I'm going to just take this sheet. Now, this is obviously from my birds collection. Now, again, we've got 2 different types of, not types of papers, but 2, you know, very different looking papers, because obviously that's the point of the collections, is that you get lots and lots of different looks of the same theme. So we've got this with the browns, which this obviously goes pretty well, I think, on these papers, because we have got already browns and things going on in here. But I'm going to try and be a bit more, you know, mixy-uppy. And I'm going to just take this bird here. Now, all I'm going to do is just tear this out. And I must just mention, this is all printed on, I think this is 110 GSM paper. It is significantly thicker than copy paper. It's by no means card. It is very much a paper still, but it's much thicker than your normal copy paper. So I just do like to always mention that. And yeah, I mean, you get kind of superior results, really. This is a presentation, you know, quality paper. And yeah, you do just get better results with that type of paper. So I'm going to take this bird. Now I'm going to fussy tear him a little bit closer around him, if you see what I mean. And then hopefully incorporate him somewhere on this page. Now, like I say, I may decide that actually I've bitten off more than I could chew. He doesn't really go at all on here. And yeah, have to go for something else. But let's give him a try and just see how we get on. Now, do I want to kind of like tear down here? Yeah, I think I'm going to have to be honest. So yeah, going to just fussy tear him. So I'm not cutting him out or anything, you know, we're just going for fussy tearing. So like that. I mean, doesn't he look pretty? He looks gorgeous, doesn't he? I don't know why I keep calling him a he. It could be a she, but hey. We are not gender specific here at all. We are just going with a generic term, which happens to be he right now. So yeah, I mean, that looks very pretty. I'm just going to check that I want him there. Oh, I might prefer him here. Which, you know, that just goes to show, doesn't it? I mean, I thought he was going to look by far better on the purple, but actually, I think he actually looks better there. So yeah, I might actually have to put that on the front cover. So let's just put that down there just to kind of hold it flat. Now, I might mix it in with some of my damask papers because, you know, I want to go for quite a eclectic look here. So I've got this one, which is obviously in this gorgeous, I don't know what colour, purple, mauve, I don't know what you'd call that really. Or I've got this brown, which we have been using, obviously, the brown in here as well. I mean, that bird looks really pretty on the brown, but this maybe looks better against the purple, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, not sure now. The bird does, to me, straight away look better on the brown. But I don't think that the brown actually complements the purple so well. So, a bit stuck now straight away. Oh, that's not a good start, is it? And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take one or two of the wordy parts from these Paris papers. Now, these are printed on quite thick paper. So I'm just going to have a look and see if I've got some of those on thinner paper, because that might actually be too thick, you know, in comparison to the bird, because the bird is just on the copy paper. So yeah, that might just prove to be too thick. Right. So I've got some other bits here. So these are also from the Paris, the French collection papers, but they're obviously printed on that 110 GSM paper. So I just personally think that they are going to be better against the bird, because otherwise I feel like to have the smaller part, i.e. the words, on a thicker paper than what should be the main feature part, which is the birds, not the words, but the birds, that to me just feels wrong. Now, I'm not saying that it would even really be apparent, but I think things like that do kind of matter. So I'm just cutting this little piece out. Now, I have kiss cut this, and the kiss cutting is when you cut, leaving a gap around the edge. So I've just kind of left a gap around the edge of the shape and just gone kind of close to it, although to be honest, not that close. I've not made a brilliant job of it, but you know, that will do. And then I can have that and my bird, and I think that looks really pretty. You know, I like how that looks straight away. So I will probably ink a little bit onto here. Now, you could have printed these onto thicker quality paper. So, I mean, I could have used these thicker parts. The only reason I'm not is because my bird is not on thicker paper. If my bird had been on thicker, I probably would have used the thicker paper for both. But I didn't want my, you know, this part being on thicker paper than the birds, because that just felt like that was the wrong way round to me. Obviously, there's no rights or wrongs. it's just what your gut feeling says, and my gut feeling had kind of said, oh, that's weird to have that thicker paper than the bird. So there we go. Right. Okay, so my bird will be on there like that. So love how that looks. Now I will probably have some lace because, you know, I just love having lace everywhere. When I glued the pockets in, the ones that I was coffee dyeing, I did put some lace in just underneath one of the pockets, but that's all I've done, is just under one of the pockets. So there we go. I mean, that looks really pretty to me. I think that looks lovely. So I'm just going to glue this down. Now I have to be careful because I feel like I can see the underneath sheet of the craft card quite a bit. So I have to kind of like make sure that I'm not getting not lulled into a false sense of security exactly, but you know, kind of that I think that this is wider than it is, because it's not. Right, okay, let's take this, pop this one down. Okay. Whoops. So, I mean, basically the purposes really of this is to show that, you know, if you've not got ephemera pieces, like you haven't got an ephemera part of a kit, you can still make ephemera from your background pages. Now, I'm not saying that's going to work with everything. Of course, it, you know, wouldn't necessarily work with all kits or all papers, you know, but the chances are most, well, I don't like to say that, it's a bit of a sweeping statement, but a lot of papers anyway. I mean, like the damask, of course, there's not any focal points on there. But if there's something like the French kit or the birds, I don't know, the postal collection, they do have things that you could cut out elements to use as a focal point. So, yeah, hopefully there would be pieces or bits that you could incorporate if you don't have, you know, even though these papers don't have an ephemera part of the kit, as a lot of 12 by 12 papers don't. So, yeah, and I must reiterate, and I don't know, I keep on repeating the same point, I'm not necessarily saying you have to have purchased my papers for this. I'm meaning this is a generic method, I suppose. Yeah, a generic method. So if you've got some sort of background papers, albeit maybe from a 12 by 12 paper, I'm sure that you could still probably get away with something like this, you know, or doing a project, something like this. So let's take this and glue this bird down. Now, as well, and I know I've talked about this loads of times, but birds are not necessarily my style, my thing. I mean, I think birds are beautiful, and, you know, I love birds in real life, and yeah, I love other people's bird journals, but for me, they're not probably kind of a natural thing for me to do. I'm much more drawn to like the ladies and the buildings and things like that, and I know I've talked about this loads of times. So I'm kind of pushing myself a bit, you know, outside of my boundaries here by using the birds. But I wanted to kind of just explore some different things. Now, I might try and mix in birds with the Paris, for example, like we have here. We're going to see how this goes. I mean, it might look absolutely awful, or you might think it looks awful and I might think it looks great, but be in the minority. Oh gosh, that glue's very discoloured, wasn't it? I had forgotten to switch my hot glue gun off overnight. So yeah, I don't do that very often, but I went through a phase where I was terrible and kept forgetting to switch it off. And yeah, I've been much better. But yeah, I did forget to switch it off last night, so that's why it was coming out kind of bright yellow or orangey colour. So there we go. I mean, how gorgeous does that look? Absolutely lovely. And then what you could still do is still have like a little bit of background paper on here if you wanted, for example, something like this from the Paris papers. So let's just tear down a little portion of this. Honestly, I don't know what's wrong with me, and I know I've talked about this loads of times, but yeah, I still find myself wanting to hoard these papers. I mean, hello, what is wrong with me? I could just print some more off. But yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to hoard the papers. I mean, for goodness sake, what on earth? What is that about? So here, oops, for example, just put that there and just glue that down, and that's bringing all of those colours together. And, you know, just looks really pretty, adds a bit of interest to the page. I mean, I think it looks perfectly fine like that anyway. But if you just wanted to add something more, then just by, oops, doing something like this. So this is again another little piece from the French collection papers, and just pop that into the background. Oops. It's, oh gosh, sorry, I'm just smudging glue all over the background page there, not great. It's bringing the colours together, because of course I've picked up the pink from here, you know, with the pink on the French collection papers, but it's also making that page look a lot more interesting. So very easily and quickly you can kind of like just add additional bits that are going to marry everything up really nicely. So that's that one. Now I'm just going to see whether I want to have a little bow, because I've got these, whoops, lilac bows. So I'm kind of thinking maybe have a lilac bow somewhere as well. And wow, doesn't that look gorgeous on there? So, and that's just bringing in obviously the purple. So we've got some purple, we've got, I mean, that looks quite blue. The bird obviously is blue. And then we've got the pink. But to me, this doesn't look sickly, even though we've got that weird combination of colours, which, you know, by rights, it could look pretty sickly. I think looks gorgeous. So, yeah, hopefully you guys think it looks pretty too. So, absolutely lovely. So, yeah, really, really loving how that looks. And then going over the page. Now, with this one, what I've done is I cut this door open. So this is from the Fantasy Doors collection. Now I cut this door on two sides. So I cut the door out of the background papers. I think we did do that in the video, on the last video. So I cut the door out, and then behind it, what I did, I took another sheet from the background doors of the Fantasy Doors collection. Let me just bring in kind of the page. So this had this double door, which was in much more white colours. Cut that out and just put that right behind this brown door. So when you open it, we've got the white door showing, which, I mean, I think that looks absolutely lovely. You know, it's in similar colours. It kind of goes and ties this much more white elements from like this side in with this side. So yeah, I mean, I think that kind of makes it all blend really nicely, kind of all together. Now, what do we want to have on here? I would like to decorate the, you know, this pocket up really. So I've got this laying around. I don't know whether I necessarily want to use it, but what I also had was I had this background doors, Fantasy Doors collection paper, which, if you recall, if you watched the last video, on the back it's got, you know, not misprints, but, you know, where I was trying to create the papers, it's got some sort of background elements. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tear this down like that, okay? And then I'm wondering if we could have this kind of like poked in to here somewhere. So I might be better off using this section. So yeah, if I just tear this down here. Now, I don't think I'm going to make a very good job of this, but I'm thinking if I'm really, really, really careful, and yeah, this is not my type of thing, so I doubt very much I'm going to pull this off. I'm kind of thinking, can I manage to like tuck this into the pocket and then have it out here? So yeah, probably not if I'm truthful, but let's do this. So up to there, and then just tear this section out. Oops. Just cut this edge down. Oh gosh, that's where I've gone wrong. I knew that I'd muck this up. So pop that into there like that. Oh, no, maybe it's okay. Yeah, so that then comes out. And then what I need to do is obviously take this down to kind of roughly the size of the page. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. you know, we are making a junk journal after all. We're not kind of striving for perfection, but like that. And then just, yep, take that one in there. Like that, okay. And like I said, I mean, this is kind of in answer to the lady who, you know, would like me to make some more kits. And I did say I will be making some more kits, but just not at this moment, although I have just put a massive Junk Journal Basics kit on. So this is Junk Journal Basics set 2. They're dearer than my normal kits, it's got to be said, but they are massive. So the Junk Journal Basics kit 2, I think it might have something like 54 pages. I mean, it's huge. So yeah, although it is obviously, you know, more money, it is a very, very, very big kit. So, I mean, hopefully there would be a lot of kind of, you know, fun things that you could do with that. You know, if you wanted to kind of have a look. Oh, I'm really annoyed now because, yeah, I would have preferred that kind of portion there really rather than this. And of course, now look what I've done with that. So unless I have a strip of lace running down the side just to disguise that shoddy rubbish cutting. So I've got this pale pink here. Let's just see. I mean, it's just, yeah, just disguising that side bit really, but well, that's not too bad to be honest. I mean, definitely it needs something, doesn't it? So yeah, let's just take this down here. Oh my goodness. Sorry about my head if my head is in the camera, but it's hard to kind of see otherwise without, you know, leaning over a little bit. Right, let's take that one down. Like that. Okay. Right, so tucking this in here. Yeah, and then I'm thinking, you know, if I just put some lace down, it doesn't even have to run right the way down. Maybe just like this from that midway point, that would be fine too. So I'm just going to glue this down in the background. Now I haven't thought yet what I'm going to do for a cover for this journal. I'm sort of, yeah, winging it a little bit, but we'll see when it comes to it. But I just really wanted to come on and do this because I thought, you know, it's horrible when you can't think of what to do. And obviously I don't like the thought that, you know, I'm disappointing people. So yeah, I thought, well, if I come on and do a couple of ideas of things that you could do, then hopefully that will kind of, you know, what's the word? Not tide you over, but yeah, kind of like just, yeah, anyway, spur some inspiration. So right, so that's there. Now I don't know whether I want to continue like with the bird theme. I don't know whether I necessarily want a bird on every single page. That maybe would be a bit sort of too much, I'm not sure. So we've got this lace, which I'm thinking we could have just kind of running down like to a midway, you know, midway point like that. Kind of thinking we could have some flowers like, you know, almost like they're on that trellis. I mean, this has got some trellis going around, so we could kind of do that type of thing, which looks quite pretty, doesn't it? Now let me just have a look and see. I mean, to be honest, I quite like that little bee actually, but it might not be quite significant enough to actually, you know, make much of an impact on that pocket. So let's just have a look. Okie dokie. Oops. So yeah, I mean, I like that lace off to the side like that. I think that's really pretty. Oh, that looks quite nice, I think. Okay, right, so I'm going to just put the lace down because otherwise I will forget what I kind of thought that I would do with that. So I'm going to run it across like at a bit of an angle. And I know I've talked about this before, but yeah, I quite like the having things not necessarily straight because it just looks a bit more interesting, doesn't it? I mean, we could have, of course, run that lace straight down in a straight line, but, you know, why be boring? Why not have some mixtures of lines going on? It just makes it a bit more bit more fun to look at, I think. So yeah, quite like how that looks. Right, now this bee, let's just ink up around the edges so that it would show up a little bit more. Okay, like that. I mean, I think that looks really pretty, to be honest. Yeah, really like that. Now, the other thing is, I mean, this obviously, you know, is a sort of like a rich brown, isn't it? This is, you know, sort of meant to be gold. I mean, obviously it's not gold because it's just printing. But so I'm wondering whether we could even dab some gold onto this page, to be honest. Yeah, I think that would look quite pretty. Or maybe we'd want to do that at the end, go through the journal and dab some gold on randomly around it. Yeah, I think that might look quite pretty. So I'm just going to cut this into a couple of bits so that we can just separate it out a little bit. So, you know, then I can curve it more around the door. I can never see what's the right way and the wrong way for these flowers. I mean, honestly, what's wrong with me? So yeah, probably like that, I think. So yeah, that looks pretty, doesn't it? I mean, I do think that bee looks very lovely there. Now, do we want to have any words or anything like that? That's the question. I mean, I've got this brown damask. I know I keep pulling this brown damask in. I mean, but yeah, let's just see. Because, of course, that would then make this stand out significantly more. So I'm just going to tear this down. Not necessarily saying I'm going to go for this, but let's just see. So, yeah, let's just tear that down. Like that, okay. Oops. Right. I mean, to be honest, I like it with or without. I maybe prefer it without, actually. Oh, gosh. Again, I wish I could hear you guys. Because you maybe, you know, really have an opinion. And, yeah, I wish that I could hear you and gauge what your opinion was. I mean, I quite like it without. I'm just going to look through the camera. Because I know I've said this before, but sometimes things can look really different when you're looking down as opposed to just flat. Oh, gosh, I'm not sure. Not sure. The other thing is, of course, here I've got my opening door and I may want to put something in there. I haven't quite decided yet, but yeah, we might put something inside the door. I mean, I was kind of thinking you could have that as journaling space because, of course, that door's just, you know, sort of white. But we might want to actually have something in there. Let's glue this one down. Okie dokie. Right. Okay. So, yeah, like that. Oh, my goodness, how pretty does that look? I'm really loving the eclecticness of this journal. I know that's no such word, but yeah, it looks really scrumptious, doesn't it? I mean, I don't very often mix up colours and styles to this extent, but I think really this is going to show that actually with junk journals, or not necessarily this is going to show as in when it's finished, what I'm saying is this is going to show me right now as I'm kind of doing it, that actually, you know, the beauty of junk journals is the more eclectic they are and the more you mix things up, actually, you know, the more things kind of seem to go. And yeah, I must be braver in my choices, I think, going forward, because I'm not very brave. And I think, you know, bravery, it kind of does pay off when it comes to journals. So now I've got this lilac ribbon here. This was just sat to the side of my desk, but I'm thinking maybe ruffle this down this edge because that's going to bring in the purple to the purple that's on here on this pocket. So then we've got like continuity going across the two pages. So loving how that looks. Now I would ordinarily really staple ribbon on. I'm not going to do that because obviously I've got all these bits here which then the staple would just obviously go over those. It's a shame I didn't think of it first, because then my lace would have covered up my staples, but it's, you know, it's all fine. So I'm going to just glue my ribbon down, just literally, you know, like we do with the sari silk. I'm just going to glue it like that. So just going to put one of these rosebuds at the top. And all of these rosebuds, they are available. They're like the floral trims, the trim packs that are available on my website. So that's my shabbydabbydoodah.co.uk, not my Etsy shop. My Etsy shop has got the digitals, so all the digitals that we're using are on my Etsy. But yeah, all of the florals and things, they're on my website. And I, you know, it is my intention to eventually put my digitals all on my shop as well. I will probably, you know, probably just leave my Etsy running at the same time, certainly for a long time. But yeah, it's just a case of learning how to put my digitals all on there. So far, I've just got one lonely digital on there. Not because I don't know how to do it, because obviously I have put that one on there, but I can't possibly put, I mean, I think I've got something like 389 digitals now. So I can't put 389 digitals on there like one at a time. I may have to, because perhaps that's the only way that you can. But if that's the case, that's going to take me ages. So yeah, hence that's why my digitals are not on there yet, because I'm still thinking, well, surely there must be a quick way to be able to import those. I haven't found it yet, but I mean, that means nothing. That means nothing, because I'm no website expert, let's face it. So yeah, just because I haven't found it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means I haven't found it. So, and yeah, when I get more time, I will have a look. But in the meantime, obviously, all my digitals, they're all fine on Etsy. But I know we've talked about this before, but I mean, honestly, just the Etsy fees are, you know, kind of like a killer, really. I don't know whether it would work out not so bad if the things you were selling were dearer. Maybe then percentage wise it wouldn't be quite so bad, but when you're selling things that are like only, you know, £1 or £2, then actually their fees are, you know, a third of what you're selling, which, I mean, that's huge, isn't it? I don't know whether that is because they are a third, or whether it's because, you know, like sort of like, let's say your listing fee, I mean, it's 20p per item, which of course, I mean, if you were selling something that was, say, £60, 20p is nothing. I mean, if you're selling something that's, say, £1, you know, that's 20% of the item price. So I don't know. But anyway, I've gone off at a complete tangent now. Not really my intention to sit here discussing all that. But yeah, it just seemed like something to talk about, I think, while I was putting the ribbon down the side. Oh, my goodness. That page looks so lovely. Oh, I hope I'm not the only person thinking that. Oh, you may be all watching this thinking, what on earth? That just looks horrible. What a revolting combination. But oh my goodness, I love it so much. I mean, that ribbon, that's the, you know, that's the icing on the cake, isn't it? Like everything else, it looks okay, doesn't it? But wow, that ribbon is like, oh my goodness, what a yummy, yummy, yummy colour. Yeah, absolutely love it. So, oh, sorry to now be going on about how lovely it looks, but I'm just kind of like flabbergasted by how nice that does actually look. Right, okay, so must stop now waffling on. So I've just got this little Paris, which no, I was going to include, but actually it's blue, kind of quite tinged blue, so I'm not going to do that. Let me just take this one down and just see whether we can have this anywhere. So, I mean, I'm not saying it even needs anything else. I mean, to be honest, I might be just, you know, this may be one step too far. Maybe it's better, you know, less is more. I'm not saying it's got less, because it's actually quite cluttered in the first place. But yeah, maybe it's a case of, you know, stop it before you ruin it. So yeah, perhaps I'd best stop it. So I'm just going to put these roses over here on that door. So a couple there, and then a couple here. So I've cut this trim into, well, those two are left together, but these I've cut individually into individual ones, just because actually I think, whoops, you know, you get more flexibility then to be able to kind of like bend them round, you know, and put them on. So yeah, they look really pretty, don't they? Right, now I still haven't decided, do we want to put anything in here or not? Now it doesn't even need a paper clip or anything like that to hold it down. You know, it seems to kind of like fit in there really nicely. The only worry is, of course, if I start sticking other things in there, that maybe will cause that to kind of like not lay so flat. So, you know, it swings in roundabouts really. But yeah, I was kind of thinking, shall I put a bird in there from the bird kit? Now, what were those birds that I used just now? Here. So, no, probably not those, although I sort of tore them without that blue one. They're not bad. Oh, I mean, don't you love that dark damask colour? Yeah, looks very rich and lovely, doesn't it? Right, so yeah, I'm going to just try, I don't know whether I'm going to manage to do this, but I'm going to just try and tear these without that yellow bird in the background. Oh dear. And they're pretty close now to the wire, but so yeah, I'm kind of thinking we could have those like behind the door. Oh no, they just don't go, do they? Because they have got that yellow, for me that just means they don't go. So they've just got some yellow on their body, which, you know, I just don't really feel like that goes particularly brilliantly. But so we're going to have a birdless page, but that's absolutely fine. So that's that page. Now I did say before, I mean, I do jump around in journals normally, and I haven't jumped around so far. So I'm going to just jump around now and go like to this page instead. So let's just now see about what we might do on here. Now I'm just going to check the time because I'm not sure how long I've been filming for, so I'm so sorry. Oh gosh, sorry if you could hear the dog there. Right, okay, so 36 minutes by the looks of things, so I might have time to just do something here, but maybe not a full page. Or oh, let's do the center spread, shall we? Well, that's a double page, there might not be time to do that. Oh, that's a double page as well. Oh, that's a door. Oh gosh. So I've got this envelope. Now I just tied some baker's twine around there. So we could put that one down there. Let's do this because this is just a single page. So, you know, hopefully it won't be kind of quite so long-winded as doing a, you know, double page spread. So let's have a look and see what we might like to put with this. And again, just trying to kind of show how you could use the kit as it's got no ephemera component to it. So for instance, this bird, I mean, that's really, really pretty, isn't it? So I'm kind of thinking we could take that and have that on that envelope. I'm not sure. Well, I think it will just about fit, but we will have to take the, what do you call that? The leaf off. So let's just tear this down here. Like that, okay? Right, so now I'm going to just fussy tear this again, exactly like we did with that bird previously. So, you know, I really like the torn look. You may prefer, obviously, to cut. I think either is fine. I think the fussy tearing is quite nice, especially when you've got, you know, background detail, which, of course, these are on a background page. So they're not like they're on plain white. They've got pretty stuff in the background. So, yeah, for me, I think that kind of improves things slightly. But yeah, it's just kind of personal preference, really. I mean, obviously, could just go in and cut it down close to the bird, and then, you know, the background stuff wouldn't even be an issue either way. But yeah, let's just see how it looks. So let's just take that. Now, I do not want, obviously, this like this situation because we can't see the bird's face. So he would have to come right off. So let me just open this up. Now he would have to be like over here for us to see his face, if you see what I mean. So I'd have to cut it down along that edge, which is fine, you know, I don't mind doing that. So yeah, we could do that, or I could find a different bird. So let me just check what I want to do. I mean, I think that bird looks really nice on there. You know, he's quite a good colour on there. Or I've got this cluster of birds here, which this might be better. Oh, I'm trying to hoard the paper. I mean, for goodness sake, I must stop trying to hoard things that I can just print more of. I mean, for heaven's sake, what on earth is wrong with me? Oh dear. Right, now. So this obviously was on the corner of the page. So, I mean, we could actually have that snug in the corner of this, you know, tied up kind of envelope-y type thing. So I'm just going to tie this back up and see how that would look. So, yeah, if we just, let's tie that up like that, for example. So that would be glued down there in that corner. Now, I mean, I actually think that looks very pretty. Yeah, I'm quite liking that. Now, let's just take this bird. We could even then have that little bird kind of poking out there, which is really nice, isn't it? I've also got another section here of this paper. So if I just tear this down and just, yeah, tear here where I've got those weird shaped tear marks. So I'll just check that I wouldn't prefer that. Again, I've got a bird that's face is then just like chopped into. I don't think it's really that visible, so, or noticeable, so I don't think it matters too much. But we could do something like that, and then actually that becomes, you know, not a problem anyway, because we've just covered it up slightly with that kind of Paris label. So I think that looks quite pretty. I'm going to just go for that. Oh, sorry if you can hear the dog. She just, I know I've said this loads of times, but just in case you haven't come across my videos before, you're wondering what that noise, almost like snoring, is. She does this weird little noise when she's being disturbed when she's sleeping. And obviously I disturb her all the time when I'm filming, because she's got a little bed in my craft room, and yep, she's sleeping, and obviously she's just bored stiff listening to my rubbish ramblings, and yeah, she just kind of like makes these little weird noise, a little bit like a snore, but it's when she's being disturbed. So it's basically, I think, her way of saying like, oh, be quiet, you know, you're disturbing me. It's like a little groan, like a little sort of groan, but oh my goodness, it's cute. Very, very cute. Right, just going to glue this one down. Now, I'm not going to ink this because, I mean, this is quite a dark paper anyway. It probably won't really make much difference to ink it. So just going to, yeah, pop this down onto here like that. Okay. Oh my goodness, how pretty is this looking? Like that. Loving how that looks. Okay, let's just do this. I was going to say do it up, but actually I'm not going to do it up just yet, because I might want to just put a little bit of lace on the flap. Because this is just, you know, it's not copy paper, but it's that 110 GSM. And so anywhere where it's got a flimsy part, i.e., you know, this, it's not an envelope flap, but, you know, a kind of flap, that feels to me a bit like a vulnerable point. And if you can cover it up with lace, of course, that kind of acts like a bit of a strengthener. You know, I'm not saying it's, you know, it's 100% foolproof or anything like that, but it does kind of strengthen it a little bit, which just makes me feel a bit more comfortable about it. So yeah, now I'm just wondering whether I might prefer the ivory lace. So I'm just putting that like that for a moment. And then this, I've got this section here. So I was wondering about that Paris label, but I'm just going to check with this. I love this. It's like a little advert, and it's, you know, it's quite commonly used, isn't it, in crafting. You come across this little I don't know what you'd call it, like a trade card or a print card or whatever. Come across it quite often, but yeah, I first came across it years ago actually. I think it was in a stamp set, but oh my goodness, it's absolutely lovely. I really love it. And I'm thinking this is a very similar colour to that lace. I mean, it's almost the same colour. So I'm thinking if we have that there, that will tie in the lace colour. So, you know, then we don't have to worry about thinking, oh, that doesn't really match. It actually goes pretty well, doesn't it? So let's just pop that down there. Okay. So, yeah, let's just pop this down. So this is just going to cover up that bird, which then I don't have to worry about that looking strange, you know, the bird's face being covered up. So that whole thing then is covered up, and, you know, it doesn't matter then that his face is not visible anymore. So going to use that lace down on this, you know, this foldy flap piece. So like that. Okay, and yep, just put some of that lace down there. Okay. Whoops. There we go. Oh my goodness, how pretty is that looking? Love how that looks. It's gorgeous. Okay, right. Now I'm going to have some lace trim packs in my shop again soon, which I have had somebody message me about those as well. So yeah, they're coming soon. Like all these things, it's just sort of time to do them, but yeah, they're coming soon. So if you would like one, they're going to hopefully be in there soon. Now on this, I'm just thinking, can I tear this edge off? I mean, I don't even necessarily say I need that, but I like kind of the element of lots of different pieces of stuff to look at. So I'm just going to pull in this rosebud trim because we've got these pink flowers. So I'm thinking that the rosebuds look pretty on there, don't they? And they just tie in that pink, you know, to everything else on the page. So I was going to have it. Whoops. Gosh, I can't pick it up now. It's stuck on my hot glue threads on my fingers. But yeah, like that. Yeah, I was going to have it in the middle, but actually I think probably down there is better. So, right, let's put this one up there. Oops. Okay, like that. Oh my goodness, how lovely is this all looking? So, oops, I hadn't glued this one down yet. So we just pop this label down. Okay, like that. And then this. Now, do we like it there or do we like it here? I mean, to be honest, it's, you know, probably not much of a difference, but yeah, I think probably up here actually. So yeah, pop it there. Right, I'm just going to do this up and then decide whether we want that other rosebud. I don't know whether I do or not, but I probably, you know, probably not really a big deal to be honest, but we'll just decide. Now, do we want anything going off on the edge of the page just before we glue this down? Because obviously once it's glued down, it's kind of too late then to go underneath it. So just wondering if we could have some of this pink lace just to edge off the page, which, I mean, you know, again, I just think things like that, they do make a difference to your finished, you know, the finished look. So just going to put this down here. So like that. Okay, and this is quite a flattish lace, so it's not going to be sort of too intrusive or anything. And I'm not putting it overhanging by miles or anything like that. So there we go. Okay, oops, snip that down there. Oh my goodness, I love this page. I have to say, it's so pretty. It's actually turned out way lovelier than I expected. So I didn't obviously have like any kind of plan in mind when we started doing it, but oh my goodness, I love it. So this one, I'm going to just pop this on as a tuck spot. So that means just gluing it on just the two sides. Now I'm just going to be super quick and just do it with my hot glue gun. So just two sides straight down here. Whoops, I've not even gone near the edge. So rubbish glue in there. So yeah, rubbish glue in, rubbish cutting today. There we go. And then just, yeah, glue that in. Oops. Just get rid of those little bits of glue that are coming out on the side. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness me. Right. Okay, so then we've got just a tuck spot here behind. Now, what happened to those rosebuds? Oh gosh, I haven't, oh no. I thought, oh no, I've stuck it right on them. That wouldn't have surprised me, to be honest. Just deciding whether I want to have these or not. I wanted to get it all glued down before I decided. I mean, I think it looks fine with them. I think it looks fine without them. Again, wish that I could hear what you think. Whether you think it needs them or not. Just trying to look through the camera because, you know, it does make a difference when you look down. Yeah, I'm going to pop these on. My goodness. Right, just pop those down like that. Oh my gosh, how gorgeous does that look? I love how that looks. I have got an urge to have some of this purple lace ribbon on here somewhere. But yeah, I'm going to resist that urge because, to be honest, the whole page is looking quite busy now. But I mean, you could have, I suppose, something like, you know, a little banner going off somewhere or something. Oh, I wish that I'd thought and I would have had it under those rosebuds. Oh, do you know, I'm going to have to do that. So, right, let me just take these down. So just going to cut that like that. Do those little dovetails and then just going to glue it here. Like that. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and pick those rosebuds off. Oh gosh, let's hope that I can do this without making too much of a mess or tearing the paper. But yeah, I just thought, oh, actually, that looks so pretty, doesn't it? So, right, oh my goodness. Oh, right. Oh, right. I'm not going to peel them completely off because I fear I may end up tearing the paper. So I've lifted them enough to get the ribbon underneath like that. And then I can just glue these back down over the top of the ribbon. So like that. Okay. There we go. So I haven't kind of disturbed it too much by doing that. But oh my goodness, I mean, doesn't that ribbon just finish that off like beautifully? And there's nothing else lilac on there, or, you know, that shade of purple. I mean, we've got that damask paper, but that's a plummy sort of colour. But oh my goodness, that just looks lovely. And, you know, by using kind of those same sort of things just dotted around in the journal, it makes the journal flow. You know, because you haven't then just got like weirdly, oh, I've just got some purple here, but nowhere else in the journal. You've now got some purple here, but chances are we might have it in other places as well. But if you didn't, you've now got two places where you've got this, the purple. So yeah, I really hope that you love it. I think it's kind of like a good, you know, a good start. And yeah, I really hope that you love it. And if you wanted, obviously, any of the collection papers, they're available on my Etsy. If you want any of the trims and things, they're available on my shop. But I have to be truthful and say, you know, they sell out pretty quickly. So I can't guarantee that there are any on there at the moment. But yeah, I hope you like everything that we've made so far. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks then. Bye.